Hey, everybody, welcome on in. It's great to be here. Great to see you. How are you all doing? Yes, it's, I just got in for my walk, and I have to tell you, it was a good one. Let me know if you can see me. Do me a favor. And if you can hear me, let me know that it's all good. How are you? It's Sharon Arrington, CEO. Listen, guys, welcome on in. We're going to have a lovely chat. And do keep in mind this is about personal and professional development. Yes, for my entrepreneurs. Yes, for my nurses and those of you in the wellness space. I do ask that after the live you come back and you can just, leave a comment below. And that's how we connect with each other. I do ask that you go to, once you connect with someone, check out their pages, watch a video. All right. It's not just to come and just to get subscribers. It's really to connect with people. That's what we do. And so I welcome you. And so we're going to have a nice little chat tonight. And maybe I'll just do it like a monologue, right? I almost feel like I need to put on my other glasses so I can get to see you all a little bit better. How about that? And I do have some tea. I have some tea. Hold a second here. Hold a second. Welcome on in. Let's see how we're looking. My goodness. That's what we're doing. Come sit at my kitchen table and let's talk. Let's have some tea. And it's a subject some people may wonder, like, why that subject? Well, it's just, there we go. How much better is that? Oh my goodness gracious me. Very sweaty. Still, my voice is coming back little by little. And yeah, that's the thing, when we have things that we have to deal with, and sometimes we hold ourselves, sometimes we hold ourselves hostage because of the experiences and what we might have experienced and what we might have done. And sometimes it's, we may blame ourselves. And when I say we, when I have these conversations, I always include myself. I include myself in that because I am not perfect. None of us are. Yes, sometimes we are aiming for perfection, and that may not be the case. But as you come in, feel free to say hello. We have some hibiscus lemon, no ginger tonight. I think I do need the ginger, but since like I said, I was out walking and it felt so good. I even did a little jog because I needed to get back just in time. And I think I got back 4 minutes before we started. So yeah, so when we talk about some of the things that, let's see if we have any talking points, because that's going to be important. And I don't know how many people will show up on the live, but if you're here and you want to say hello, say hello. Let me know what's going on. I just came in from my walk, guys, just in case you wondered what's going on. And we're talking about shame, how to break free from it. And shame doesn't always have to be, oh, something that you did so horribly. Sometimes it could be just mistakes that you make. There's a scripture that says that, therefore, there's no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus, as we say, who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. And it reminds us that, um, you know, there's no shame in, like I said, sometimes there are mistakes that are being made. And it's just your faith. We have to do things that will strengthen our faith. And because, there's so much cost to us being ashamed, because what do? We hold ourselves back silently. It holds us back. And one of the things it can hold us back is when it comes to the confidence to make decisions that can take us to the next level. I mean, that in itself is so much, right? When we go through our storms, when we go through our situations, there are just so many things that will hold us back. And we will feel as if, uh, there's no way out of it. And I would like to say this. Can you think about, situations? situations where you have um, it. I would say your confidence has wavered, right? Your confidence wavered, all because you felt some guilt. You felt some guilt to something that you might have done. You felt some guilt to some mistakes that you might have made, some decisions. And all of us, right? We've made wrong decisions, and we blame ourselves. So at times we lose so much, right? We lose so much. Patijo, trabalero, tra la 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 la, tra la la la. Hey, Diva. Hey, hey, hey. Come on in. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Are you a subscriber? Because that's the only way you can get in here. Thank you. Great to see you. I am excited. I'm talking about us, um, working on forgiveness. Sometimes we just need to forgive ourselves. Forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we've made. Forgive ourselves for things that we might have said and done. We might have hurt somebody. We didn't mean to do it, but it's forgiveness. And because now you'll say, Sharon, I thought we were talking about shame. Absolutely, because it starts with us forgiving ourselves. And because mistakes might have been made, it also it puts a waiver into our confidence. We are not confident enough to move out in just to step into what it is that we're called to do. So I'm just having a light conversation, and that's how it goes, guys. If you come in, you come in. If you're here on the replay, absolutely thank you for being here. And so the hey Lashana, how are you? Thanks for coming in. Thank you. Thank you for stopping in. I just got in from my walk. I was listening to you guys, and let's see how many steps I did. I usually tell folks, you know, but I it was a good walk. I started late tonight, but the walk was great and I feel good. And I don't know why I walked so late, but it's something that makes me feel good. I did 12,750 steps on that particular walk, 6.20 miles. And it's just for my brain. It really helps me. It has helped me. My voice is coming back. Thank you for that great tip last night. I bigged you up on last night's show. um, very smart woman who has given so much of herself to all of us. Really appreciate you. And girl, you should have seen me with that. Was it green pepper or red pepper? But I ate the peppers. I know it was a red pepper for the vitamin C. So I'm doing a little bit better, but I had to get the walk out. But yeah, sometimes because of shame, sometimes because of mistakes that we've made, it cost us. It affects our confidence and even our decision making skills, because we harp on, oh my goodness, I did this, I am so embarrassed, I'm so embarrassed with that relationship, oh, I'm so embarrassed that I did that with money, or I'm so embarrassed I did this with the business, and all of those things, and we pile that on ourselves, and that bring us shame. And I believe in order for us to get over that, the best way is to release it. There are ways that we have to release it and write a different story, right, guys? Write a different story, say something a little bit different. Okay, so we've made mistakes and how to get over them. And so once we are able to get rid of the shame, once we're able to release it, it's going to build us up. It's going to build up our confidence and, of course, our self worth, right? Because once you're able to walk in that power, once you're able to walk in that confidence, you're going to stop saying, oh, I'm playing small. You're going to stop saying, I'm shrinking. Okay. And then you are going to move into the life that you so deserve, the life that God has called you to live. And so that's why when we harp and we hold on to those things, when we harp and we hold on to them, it doesn't do us any good. And that's why I say it is worth doing the work. It is worth telling a different story. It is worth writing something new, because that thinking that we have, the stinking thinking, as we call it, right? The 6 inches between our ears, we keep telling ourselves the same story because I made those mistakes. But I say it's a new day. It's a new dawning. It's a new day. It's a new day to write something new. And for those of you here and those of you on the replay, I'm going to say this to you. Write a new story. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. And that story that it is, it's the life that you want, is the life that you desire. Okay? It's the things that you are saying that, hey, listen, I am, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of the thinking. I'm going to get rid of it. So, what story is it that you could rewrite? And then some people will say, well, you know, I can't write that much of a story. It has to be I want things the way they were. And even sometimes when we pray, we're saying God is going to replace, but I believe that it's a restoration, it is a renewal. All right? It is a renewal of the things that we so desire, and also a strengthening and a renewal of our faith, because no longer am I going to, I think there's a song somewhere out there, no longer will I hold on to shame. No longer will I hold on to embarrassment. No longer will I let that old story write my beginning, my middle, and my ending. Absolutely not, because there's the power of choice, and there's the forgiveness that comes with all of this. So baby, your girl is going to say, you know what, I did that, but I'm going to pray for forgiveness and I'm going to move on. And so I say, take these few seconds while I sip my tea of a new story that you can write. I need that lemon to hit this throat. I really needed to. Oh, that's so good. That is so good. That is so good. Mm. And also getting over the mistakes. Sometimes too, even our caregivers, sometimes when I have conversations with caregivers, they're so hard on themselves. They're so hard on themselves because they feel as if they need to be by their loved one 24/7. And the moment that they choose to take a minute away, the moment they choose to do something for themselves, maybe something happens. And at times it could be something, pretty devastating. And they blame themselves, and they feel ashamed. I remember when my mom was ill, and she went to the doctor and she was having a treatment, and she was so strong, and she just told the young lady I could go to the bathroom by myself. She didn't want anybody to help her because that was my mom. And I don't know, the young lady was like, "Oh, wait out there, I got it." And she let her go in, and she went, and then she took a tumble, and I just felt so bad. I felt so bad. And the young lady was like, "Well, she told me that she could do it and she wanted to be by herself. But I knew that mom needed a little bit more help." And I felt embarrassed because I had to explain it to my siblings that mom fell. you know, I'm the nurse, I'm there, I'm the caretaker. But the young lady in the back, the office assistant that was assisting her, she said, "Oh, no," she told me, she says, "Your mom got up and walked the whole time," because that's my mom. But things happened, and I felt embarrassed. I felt I felt bad, and I know the young woman felt bad. And I just, I had to relay the story. Yeah, mom fell or whatever. And for a while, I felt pretty bad, but then I said, life happens. It happens. She got up from it, and we did what we needed to do. But at the time, it didn't feel good. The time that you are going through, whenever you are going through that situation, whenever you are going through the stuff that could cause shame, it's not a good feeling. You can blame yourself, and sometimes you want to blame others. Sometimes you may be even shameful of how some of your family shows up, or your friend, or somebody you know. You could go out with somebody and they're just going to act, as we would say, acting a fool. They're acting up. They're acting up in such a way that you're embarrassed and you're shameful. You felt ashamed. And so then you may want to have a conversation about it. You may want to have a conversation. You may want to set new expectations. You may want to draw lines with healthy boundaries and what you will and you won't tolerate. It's the same thing in business, it's the same thing in life, because you're going to say, I'm not going to walk around feeling like this all the time. So even if this, it may not make sense to some people, but to some of you, it will. And I'm just saying, just lay it on the table. Let's look at it. Let's do things. What are some of the things I need to do to overcome that shame? Some people say I need to fast. I need to pray. I need to, I need to tarry. Whatever I need to do. Sometimes you may need to stand in the gap for somebody else. Sometimes maybe you need to do that. Okay. And then when you go to that place to release that shame, it's going to feel like a load has been let off. Lady J, hey, hello, how are you? Thank you for coming in. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You know, and it's almost like I'm doing a monologue. The people are just trickling in, and it's all good. It gives me a chance to talk about it. It gives me a chance to talk about how do we release um, shame, because there's a cost. When we say it cost us, because it will affect our confidence. Sometimes it can affect our confidence to try again. It can affect our confidence to even apply for that job, to try again, to sit for that exam, especially to some of my nurses or those who are taking the NCLEX. I've had nurses who were so embarrassed because they sat for that test and they failed. Sometimes they failed 3, 4, 5 times they failed. And there's some form of shame that comes to it. I Cherish Church, good evening. Thank you for being here. We're talking about releasing shame and how shame can, it can cost us. I did, I did speak about, I think at Romans 8:1. Therefore, there is no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. And it reminds us there's no shame, there's no condemnation, right? It has no power for those of us who walk in faith. So that means we have to strengthen our faith. In order for us to be free from shame, we have to strengthen our faith. And I'm hoping that this is dropping somewhere. Somebody's going to get this. I know that you guys here, you get it, right? Because the shame of things, like I said, shame, it causes us, it costs us. It could cost us to try again. And I have a client. She we she's a nurse in a different country, and she's worked in two different countries. But when she came here to the States, she needed to take the NCLEX, the nursing test. And there were a series of things we were doing. We were writing her book, and which she did, and that was like, I wasn't really a ghostwriter, but she wrote her book. It's her book. And I said, one of the things that we're going to do within this amount of time, like I know I Cherish Church, she's doing something within a 90-day period. And thank you, Lady J. Thank you, I Cherish Church. Thank you, Lushana, for coming in. Hey, thank you for vibing with VC for stopping in. And I'm talking about shame and the cost of it. And so my client decided decided that I said, let's set up a roadmap of when you're going to study, what your needs are. Let's track this thing and when you will sit for the NCLEX. And she just chose to go do it without telling me. And she told me after the fact that she was not successful. And I said, oh, why did you choose it? She said, I thought I would just go and take it. But remember, I said, in order for us to not feel any condemnation, it is for us to strengthen our faith. And it's the same thing when it came to studying. Thank you. Thank you guys for being here and the thumbs up. I said, and that's the same thing for her. I said, in order for her to make sure that she's prepared, there were certain things that we needed to do. And so there was no shortcut to it. It was, you could just get up and say, oh, this morning I'm going to do it. You have to understand it's a different, sometimes we're in different seasons, right? We're in different time, dispensation, right? Don't let me get into all of that, but in different seasons. And so she's in a different country and things are done a little bit different. And so to build on it, so if you're going to study, if you're going to take something, right, even though you think you may know, sometimes some of these refresher courses is to really show you what you know. And it gives you that confidence, it builds you up. And for those of you, my nurses who are watching this, you remember it. There was an exit exam before we could leave the nursing program. You needed to pass that exit exam before they told you you've passed and then go sit for the NCLEX. And I've known people who carried the shame because they did not pass the exit exam. But what did they do? They now make it part of their story. They don't harp on it. He went to Jesus at night. Yes, Nicodemus, right? and um and because and people will do that because they don't want to be seen. See, I'm out there walking, guys. I was listening to Lashana and you guys, and only when I get to stop I can look at my phone. But I was listening, and I'm out there at night, and there's some people who that's walking and running. There's some people who don't want anybody to see them. For me, because it's 6 miles, usually it's 8, but I drove my car to the foot of the hill and parked because I knew I had to do the show, right? And there's some people, they don't want anybody to see them. They're like, I don't want anybody to see how I look right now and so forth. And maybe there's a little shame to it. I can't cast judgment on it. But there are people who do things a little bit differently. And so it cost us, and it will erode our self. It will dig away, chip away, and we say erode our confidence because we're cloaked in shame. My God. And then there comes a time when you have to throw it off. So my client was like, I went and I took it and I didn't do well. And I said, okay. And for me, it was important that I did not hold any judgment over her or put anything on her like, see, I told you not. No, I needed to know why she chose to do it. And it wasn't in a judgmental way. I said, oh, okay. So you chose to go early. She said, yeah, I just felt like she said, I felt like I could do it. But she said, next time. And so, multiple times, there are people who may try multiple times and then again. And so, each time, if you don't do the work in between whatever it is that you're doing, the shame, it's you have to find ways to release and forgive yourself. It comes a time when you need to forgive yourself of those mistakes, right? Just forgive yourself. And it's, as we would say, it's a new day, new opportunities. And so when we write ourselves a new story, when we write that new story, I am thanking God in advance. That new story is because instead of me, if I keep being shameful, shameful, that's all I'm going to attract. But if I start to do the work and forgive and to release it, then my confidence is going to grow. But there are things that I will need to do so that my confidence, and that's when we're talking about our faith, right? Our confidence will grow. And one of them is just saying, you know what? That happened. And it's not like sometimes when you're going through it, I spoke about before, when you're going through the thing, it's not that it's happening right now, but it's what it could be afterwards. It's not that we're negating what we're going through. I'm not negating that I'm going through some stuff in my business, but on the other side of it, because I know that there's a different way. What do they say? Trouble don't last forever. It doesn't last forever. But I'm going through this right now. But I need to strengthen my faith in God. I need to strengthen, and there were things that I needed to do. There's some things too, for me and personally, because I don't want to pick on people, but there's sometimes too, you have to fast. When I go through those moments, the clarity that you get from that. And it's just like, oh my God, you're not eating, you're not doing this. No, you don't have to tell everybody your business. I'm just going through those first 3 days off when I decide to turn down my plate. And in that time, the clarity that I'm going to get from it. Hey, Els Endeavor, welcome on in. Bless you, my sister. Thank you for coming in. And so once we release those things, Release them. And there are other people too who are living their lives with a lot of shame. And I always say to those of us here and to a lot of my clients, I always tell them to add speaking to their roster. Add speaking to the things that you do, especially to a lot of our young people and a lot of young women. They'll come in, and many of us in our careers, and that's why, I believe that there are many of us, we were just called, we are born to do a thing. We were born to do a thing. And for me, having to hold the space for a lot of people, and sometimes you would not believe. Had a young patient that came in, young, nice young girl. She was in nursing school and she just decided to have relations with somebody. And I ended up being her nurse, and I had to talk to her about how life is going to be a little bit different because of some decisions, a decision that was made. Because there's a lot of peer pressure. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on our young people. And that young woman cried and she said, I'm ashamed. I am ashamed of that. And in that moment, I don't know if I was mom, nurse, auntie, whatever I needed to be at that moment for her. So many of us in our lives, we have been there. Some of us in the wellness space, spiritual, whichever. We have people who come in and they trust us. They trust us by, with very deep things that has happened to them and the weight that they carry at the moment, the weight that they carry because the shame of it. Sometimes you just have to allow people to be. Sometimes you just have to allow them to release it, right? Sometimes we're just here to release, let them talk about it, and then get the support that's needed. So with shame, it comes a lot of things. Healthy Kitchen Wizard. Hey, how are you? Welcome on in. Good to see you. Mary Jane. Hey, hey, hey. Mary Jane is in the building, y'all. Vibing with VC, Lushana, Els Endeavor, I Cherish Church. God bless you all. Thank you all for coming in. And so we're talking about writing a new story. If what I'm saying makes sense, guys, you can just drop me a one, drop me a gem, drop me a one. That shame can erode our confidence because we're cloaked in shame and sometimes we carry it too much and it becomes so heavy that you may not want to try again. And that's why it is important that we fill ourselves up, fill up our cup, with words of people say affirmation. I'm saying prayer. I'm going to fill myself up. So from the overflow, I can help somebody else. From my overflow, I can hold the space for that young woman in that room whose life has changed. It's not the end of the world. It's just how she relate with relationships from now on will be different because she made a decision and the peer pressure of why she felt that she had to do something. And sometimes that happens. And that's why I'm saying. So it wasn't for me to condemn her for her, and she used the shame I did that. So so even from that, knowing that her confidence in things may change, then you need to be the person who will say, here, you may need additional support. There's some people that with what might have happened to them, they will need continuous or additional support to release that shame. And sometimes shame doesn't always have to be a relationship. Like I said, it could be with money. It could be a lot of people will tell you, "Oh, ma'am, oh, VC could say, when I had my credit card back in the day, and then she decided to go a 1 year, no, what was it, VC, a no spending year?" And that's how I saw VC. I would follow her, and then she did her no spending year. And I was like, wow. And she said, see, I wear black a lot. I did this, I did that. And, and I've had friends who say, I messed up so badly. I had friends who said they messed up so badly financially that they were so ashamed about it. And I'm like, listen, You can get over that. Anybody can get over it. But in the moment, that was what they were feeling like, man, I messed up. It felt good shopping, but now I got to pay the bills, right? And all of those things. And so there was a new route. VC was a new story for her. She had to write a new story. Yes, Healthy Kitchen Wizard said shame can hold you back from growing and learning and living your best life. Yes, it was a no buy year. What did I say it was here? It's a no buy year. She went to a no, I ain't spending no money for a whole year. She didn't buy any new clothes for a year. She did not buy any, and that's how I met these. I keep telling my friend, there's a friend of mine, you guys can Google her. She's called the Budgetnista, Tiffany the Budgetnista. She's right here from my state. She has spoken at quite a few of my events. And even before she started with her budget, her book. VC, I think I'm going to give you a copy of her book. It's very rare, but I have some of her stuff that she signed for me. So maybe when I come down, I can actually try and get you that book. But mm, I love it what Healthy Kitchen Wizard said. Yes, it can hold you back. VC said, I didn't buy any new clothes for a year. Mary Jane, we ain't buying no lipstick. We're not buying no eyeshadow, no nail polish, nothing. No. Okay. You're on another no buy year again this year. You know, we need some retail therapy sometimes. I know. I might just do that with VC. For me, that's one of the things I don't like to do is clothes shop or shop for clothes. When my children were younger, I'd let my sister shop for them. I never liked shopping. I only shop when I have somewhere to go. So, and I have some stuff here too. I only shop if I have an event to go to, or maybe a vacation. It depends on where I'm going. So I have clothes here that I don't even wear in the States because when I travel so much to where it's warm, those are the clothes that I wear. So I don't even like shopping. Okay, so yes, Tiffany. So Tiffany started out, and her story. She's a teacher. Tiffany's is a teacher, and she, she ended up. A friend convinced her. She'll tell the story to take some money off her credit card, do this and do that, and then he scammed her, and she wanted to know how she could do this on a teacher's salary, so many things. And then she set out on a journey to learn everything she needs to learn about money and budgeting. And she's written a couple of books. Um, Interesting fact, Els Endeavor, and I tell a few people, I gave her her very first interview, radio interview, 5 a.m. in the morning. She always talks about it. Okay, good. Good thing I have my own lipstick brand. I saw that, Mary Jane. Mary Jane, y'all, Mary Jane got her own. She's so unique. She got her own lipstick brand. She'll be like, listen, if we're gonna do a no, she's like, the lippy, we gotta do something for the lippy. Thank God I got my own brand. I got you, Mary Jane. Mary Jane, we can do the no buy year, but the lippy has to look good, right, Mary Jane? Mary Jane is like, okay, we're gonna try this one. She's there with the lippy, okay, okay. And that's how Tiffany started out. And so yeah, we worked. She's spoken at my women's summit. I absolutely love her, and and I keep telling y'all this. There are people who can see. Where's I Cherish Church in here? There are people who can see, and that's a beautiful thing when you're able to see that for someone. Her thing was about the mistakes that she made and had to go back home. I think she had her house then, and she had to go back home to her parents, and what she felt, the shame and the this and that with it. But she set out to write a new story, and so with the shame and all of that stuff, Lippy's popping. Mary Jane, right? She set out on a new journey. She wrote a new thing, and that new thing was that I'm going to become the budgetnista. And that's why I love talking about her, because and also with that, the lessons you can learn from it, it wasn't so much about her. She knew there were other people. Lucy, I try to find you again. I don't know, Lucy Warren's World. Lucy, what up? Okay. Thanks for coming in. And so, from our experiences, you can write a whole new story. You can write a whole new story and you can help others. And now she has helped people all over the world. I remember saying to her, you know, girl, you're going to be in Essence, Jet Magazine, New York Times. You're going to be this, that. And she said, Miss Sharon, you see all of that? She reminded me of Mary Jane, Miss Sharon. Miss Sharon, you see all of that? I said, yes, you will. And I said, I'll interview you before Oprah. And I sure did. I sure did. And on my old and one of my other channels, it's there. I'm not ready to put that channel out there much yet, but that's it. And so, from her story and the shame and whatever she felt, she said there had to have been other people like me who felt that way. How can I tell them a story instead of them feeling the embarrassment? So they started working on their credit and every information. She has a free group on YouTube, Facebook. You guys can go and find it. All the information, she would have it up into one of the sections, the letters that you could send out, so forth, so on. Ended up now she has a New York Times bestseller, all because her story turned out to help other people. Yes. And I've had people who have seen things in me that sometimes you're just so overwhelmed. I had life, I had other things going on. And you have to be at the place that you're ready to hear it. It's not that you don't see your greatness, right? It's to have a good night. Thank you, VC. Thank you for coming in for a few minutes. I know they can go to them bed early in Jamaica. All the peony wally them out there. All the peony wally them out there make nice, right? In Jamaica, we call the little cricket things you hear peony wally. So your story now can make a difference in the lives of other people. And sometimes, too, when you're at the place that you can tell your story, because it takes work to get there, it's so freeing. It is freeing. It can free you up. You feel much lighter. You stand taller because you're telling your truth. Okay? There's no shame in who you are, who you choose to be, or who you choose to be with, and all of that stuff, because, this and that, and everybody's expectation. You just now decide to throw that off. And there's so much freedom in being who you are. And there may be some people who don't like it that you decide to be who you are. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm too old to be worried about if people don't. When I say I'm too old, I'm just too grown. I'm just too grown now to tell people who they should and not what. As long as you're not harming me, and some people don't say, oh, it goes deeper than that, Sharon. As long as you're not harming me, yeah, up to a point. But I'm just like this now. There's just other things in this world, in my life, that I can't take another thing on my plate. And it's not keeping my head in the sand, but there's just some things I cannot put on my plate right now. And I'm choosing to be me. I am choosing to show up in powerful ways. Just show up powerfully. And it takes doing the work. It does a lot of work. And sometimes too, you don't want to hear it. And even as much as a talker as I am, and all the things that I do, I needed to be in places and spaces where I needed to humble myself, where I need to just listen. And that too was freeing in itself for somebody not to be intimidated. I remember with one of the coaches that I worked with years ago, and I remember praying for that. I said, I want somebody who's not intimidated, because people tell you you're good, you're great, you're this, you're that. I wanted someone who would really see beyond all of this. And also too, I tell you guys, for me, or it can say, when you're connecting with people, and when you ask for that thing in prayer and that thing showed up, some things are not that important. It is okay to say no to present. Come on, Healthy Kitchen Wizard. There's no shame to start over. Oh my God, Lady J, yes. You guys are so quiet, but when you're all on fire, you're on rapid fire. Lady J said there's no shame to start over. I've had friends who started over from bankruptcy. At least I'm going to tell you something about that. I know 4 people that came back from bankruptcy and they're multimillionaires. What's going on with that? One person said, I hit rock bottom. I know 4 people, 3 male, 3 females, 1 male. And they came back. They came back. They learned from it and they're helping other people. Right? They came back and are yes, someone who's not into, yes, are multimillionaires. Because they said, okay, so if that was rock bottom, and that's also biblical. I told you guys about the book, um, The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon. If y'all don't have that, get it. It'll make a difference. And even if it's not for you, maybe for somebody else. And that's why 7 years, the 7th year has a lot of things. Everything that we do here, it's biblical. No problem, Mary Jane, right? Everything that we do, it's biblical here. And so there's no shame to starting over. Some things are not that important. You just say no to it to preserve yourself. Yes, to preserve yourself. And maybe, and I'm saying sometimes we were so busy. What were we so busy doing that we lost focus? Or that we couldn't, like last night when I was struggling with my voice, and Shauna was like, get some red bell pepper. Let me tell you, Healthy Kitchen Wizard said, honey, in America, you can accomplish anything you set your mind to. You sure can. And knowing that red bell peppers with that vitamin C and the honey, the cherry, the hibiscus tea with a little lemon in it tonight. What? I had no voice the night before and a little bit last night, and it's getting a little better now. And so let's say what the Healthy Kitchen Wizard is saying, honey, in America, you can accomplish anything you set your mind to. Yes. And that's why, too, it is important the types of people that you are around. Because you can feel there was a study, don't know where to find it. Healthy Kitchen Wizard, she always have her journals and her studies. She's really good, guys. Go over there and see some of the things that she talks about. I saw the one that you did on alcohol and different things like that. But it's saying if you're in a room of high performers and you're a few feet away from them, your confidence goes up by 10%. Thank you, Els. Yes. You put up yes, that's the one I want to see on self-preservation. I watched the one on alcohol, and that one, it looks really interesting. So I think I'm going to be watching that one tonight after I take my warm shower. Yeah. And so, yes, guys, I forgot what I was saying. It's the menopause brain that came back in. Where Mary Jane at? We both over here having this menopause brain. Yes, if you're in a room with high performers and you're like 2 feet within a certain distance from them, after having a conversation and being in that space with them, you go up by a certain percentage when you are in a space of high achievers or high performers. But when you are with people with a low vibration, you go down a couple percent. You go down a couple percent. So where do I want to be? I want to be in a space where there are other people who are like mind that are operating at a different level. It's no jealousy, it's no comparison. It's just there. I am with other high performers. Yeah, I got to keep getting better because the throat is trying to get me. Is the book named Life in Babylon? No, it's called The Richest Man in Babylon. Just tag that. You may be able to get the audio book. Lady J said, when God says it's your time for your blessings, it will birth at the right time. That's so true. Because sometimes it's not everything. Sometimes you need to learn these lessons to go back. And so when you come back, you are stronger and do the work in between it? Because they're saying 9 out of 10 businesses fail. Nine, they used to say that. Remember, 9 out of 10 businesses fail, so only one. So you're telling me all these different businesses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, nine fail? And so if you just say, oh, I'm a failure, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that, the people who are successful, and some of you have heard that, the people who are successful have failed more times than you can imagine. And that is so true. Healthy Kids, yes, Els Endeavor, that's the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. Healthy Kitchen Endeavors is saying, yes, always surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. Bam, bam, boom. You never want to be the smartest one in the room. Never, ever. You want to be, if I'm at a 7, I need somebody at a 9 and above. And there's nothing wrong with it. And so when you are in places and spaces with high performers, high achievers, in my tagline, I say, I serve high achievers who want to live an extraordinary life. And I had somebody once sent me back and she said, I'm not a high achiever, so I can't work with you. I can't take your program. I said, huh? But, and when you speak, and that's a part of branding too, when you speak the language of someone, people, and that's why you got to be clear on who you are and who you serve. When you speak that language and you're so clear, people are able to self select into what it is that you are saying. If this is making sense, guys, drop a 2. If what I'm saying is making, if once I speak the language clearly, if you know who you are and you're clear, bada bang boom, right? Bada bang, bada boom. Oh, I thought that was from what was that show? Sopranos, bada bang, bada boom. But yeah. So if you are going to be, yes, you gotta be around high performers, high achievers. And that's why I find myself in those mastermind groups. Yes, it's a investment. Whoa, is it an investment? But it's people who are operating and vibing at a different level. It's not comparisons. It's about you have this business. It's about you have this thing. And we can sit at a table. And I'm telling you, in a few minutes, we can all pour into that person to go out there with that contract that could be multi 6 figures to even 7 figures, can take them to the next level because the conversation is different. When you are at in spaces where the conversation is different, you feel Lady J was like 22, 2, 2. Yes. So you vibe at a different level. You don't, I can look at Lady J in the morning. Lady J, one night I had the grandsons here for a week, and I think it's 2 days before they left. Grandma was so exhausted she fell asleep because there was a thunderstorm Monday night or some one of those nights at the window, like maybe it was open and the cold air. I didn't have a blanket on or anything. I just stayed in the room with them. And then a couple of nights before, I was watching you on my big screen TV while you were walking, and the day was beautiful, and that beautiful music you played, you know, the piano, beautiful music you're playing, and I'm walking on my treadmill, right? And I'm listening, and I'm watching somebody who's there just making me feel at another level because of what she's doing. She's vibing at a different level. She's out there walking, she's talking, and the day is beautiful. And I'm like, okay, I'm here. I can't be outside, but I can be on the treadmill because now they're napping or something. I had them for a whole week. And here now, because I am connected to you, being connected has taken me to another level. All of you in here. And so that's why when we consume certain things, when we consume certain things that we watch, we have to be careful what we take in because it becomes a part of us. Because the words are powerful. What you pipe into your home, meaning, you know, the music or the sound that comes in. You guys have heard about the study when the doctor, when they spoke to the water, you've heard about the water crystals. That one of them said something negative to the water crystals, and then to the other positive things. And when they looked, the crystals grew differently. Yes, we're inspiring each other. The crystals were different based upon what was being said. The petri dish, they did it also with the petri dish on negative words, negative, nasty, negative words. But then when beautiful things were saying, you see a difference in it. So everything that we do, and so that's how we know. Thank you. And I thank all of you. I thank, I'm always saying I'm thankful to the people here. Guys, actually, audio is my thing. Clubhouse was where it's my jam. But I took over what, 2 months now, 3 months to understand YouTube. But here, connecting with people, and you guys are a part of my life. Barry walk and exercise. I'm like, why am I laying down watching Barry when I could go out and walk? That's how that started. Brian Alexander walks. He would walk 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I would listen to him. And then I started getting the equipment, getting the things that I needed. And I started walking. And those of you who are cooking and those of you who are doing things differently. And Elle's Endeavor, you are a powerhouse. Lady, I just so wow, I want more of your stuff to consume. And so coming in here, Luciana, also Ravishing, Boogie Time, everybody in such different way. Nitya, all of you guys. And Healthy Kitchen Wizard, yes. No, I have no space in my brain for negative stuff because our body responds to those negativity. I am telling you guys, people who have some form of faith and things that they believe in, they have baffled the doctors. I don't know if I've ever told you about the woman who was on the table when she came to get a biopsy, right? And the doctor, they have to look. She had to put everything up and look to see where it was. And she was going in with that big needle to and take it. And she said, wait a minute, is this the right patient? It's the right patient. Is this the right x-ray? She's looking at, is this the right thing? The doctor was baffled because what they were looking for. The doctor left and she went over and she came back. She said, I don't know what's going on because this patient, this is where they saw that thing and it was no longer there. And I looked down on that woman on the table and she spoke in Spanish. And she said, Jesus did it. She said, God did it. She said, God did it. And the tears came down and I held her hands. And when that doctor was in the room, I was praising God with her because they could not find it. That woman's faith was so strong that it baffled the doctors. You better understand that. Know it for yourself. When you strengthen your faith, when you grow on it, they could not find anything. They thought it was the wrong patient. They thought it was the wrong this, it was the wrong that. And the way she said adios, like you know how in Spanish, and she said, he told me that he was going to take it away. They could not find it. I'm still getting chills up until this day. Guys, I've seen some miracles, I've seen some things. And that's how I know God is able, that he exists. We don't care what nobody wants it. And I don't have a problem with you. And I'm not here preaching to nobody. I'm just saying for me, and we all have that within us. It's faith like a mustard seed. That woman's faith was so strong. The doctor, when she finally finished being baffled and flabbergasted and calling somebody else in, and they looked for this and they looked for that, and they made sure it was the right this and they right that and whatever. And when I told you, I rejoiced with her in that room. I held that woman's hand. The light was dim. I could see the tears coming down her face. But she's just, the way she laid there, it was a knowing. She knew. She knew that they weren't going to find anything. That was her faith. That was her faith. Doctors don't know everything. And yes, and sometimes and you know what she finally said? She said, well, honey, so when she said to me, what do you think about this? I said, well, you got to ask her. She said, God did it. The doctor said, she said, I guess he did. It was a female doctor too. She was like, she was like, she said, I can't believe this. There's nothing there. I can't believe it. But not to the point that It was impossible. Like she couldn't believe it. But in her eyes, the doctor, her eyes too, it was a gleam like she knew there's a source that's greater. So sometimes too, like I said, just release. And this is part of it about growing our faith. With God, all things are possible. We just have to stay faithful in his promises. Amen, 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 and amen with that. I got 4 minutes before I leave out of here. So, yes, we could all go through different things in our lives, and we can decide to throw it off and strengthen our confidence, to tell our story, to read the stories of other people, to find the support that we need, and trust and believe in the word, and to know that that power that's within us, it's just a spark. Oh, as Wisdom Sparks would say, right? A spark that needs to be ignited. And even though things might have happened and we might have made mistakes, the words that we're going to speak are going to be ever so powerful. The words that we're going to speak over our children, because kids, they remember stuff. Oh Lord, and they'll remind you too. If you ever got mad at them, that was like, oh, you said this to me one time. It's like, child, mommy was probably tired. But many of us have said and done more good than bad, right? So we have to know the words that we speak. You speak to your plants. Many of you speak to your plants and watch them flourish. And so that's why the music is important. Your space at work, whatever it is that you do, it's important. And the peace that you want within. And that's why I thank you guys for listening before you go to bed. No negativity here. It's all positive things. Speak over your spouse when they're sleeping. Rub their head, right? Pray for them. I don't say, I'm getting a little personal here, but I pray and I anoint his head, anoint his feet, not too greasy so he fall and, not, but you speak over that. You speak over your children. Many of us, I used to remember my grandmother, and then I would see my mom do it, and now I do it. I go from the room to room in my house, and I say prayers. Right? You want to, and that's why not everybody can come into your house. Oh my God, that's a whole other thing. Oh my gosh, into your personal space, into your car, or whatever. And you set those healthy boundaries. Because yes, people are walking with so much. There are people you could be next to them and you feel that heaviness. And that's why we have to protect ourselves. You got to protect yourselves, right? So, yeah, shame will happen, but we're going to rebuild our confidence and the words that we speak, the people that we're around, the books that we read, the music that we're listening to. Very, very important. And it starts when they're younger, like my grandsons. One is saying, the 4-year-old saying to the 2.5-year-old, we're going to have a meeting. And we're looking at them, they're having a meeting. They're talking about the trains, trying to figure it out, right? And so it starts when they're young. And so we're living in a new world. We're living in a time where people think they can say and do things like we say, there's no decorum. People maybe don't know how to act or how to do certain things. And hopefully we can, change some things, but without being too judgmental on other people. But I got 45 seconds to go, but it is what it is. And I would just say this, just be you, and be good to other people. Speak kindness. Let's not get distracted with all of this. I keep saying, don't get distracted with it. The moment that we speak powerful things out into the atmosphere, some people don't like to say universe, my God. Okay, you speak it out into the atmosphere, and if enough of us speak good things, if enough of us enough speak good things, they will find each other. All those good words, all the good things that we speak, all the powerful things that we put out there, forgiveness, kindness, love, Joy. They're all at the top of the realm, right? They're all at the top because those are the things that will make you operate at a different level. Guys, thank you for hanging out with me. It's been good. It's been great. I thank you. You have a beautiful night. Until next time, I'll see you here again. Peace and blessings. Until next time. Wonderful. Els, thank you. Lucy Warren, Lady J. Hey, 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 everybody. Mary Jane, Mary Jane, Healthy Kitchen Wizard in the house. Luciana vibing with VC and everybody else. I'm trying to go up, but it won't allow me to go up. Els, Lady J. Yeah, 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 yay. Thank you guys. You've been good. You've been great. Mary Jane, Els, VC, and Luciana. And there you go. And Lucy, and all of you beautiful people, Healthy Kitchen. And there we go. Thank you all. Until next time, everybody. And I started out with somebody named Patino. Okay, take care. Bye bye.